The rumors have been going around for the upcoming Green Lantern show on Max. It's weird saying Max because my name's Max. On HBO Max, which is very exciting. And some of the names that have been coming up are really interesting. But before I kind of talk about those names and what we found out today, some of the outcomes of two of those names, the interesting thing is that they're going for an older Hal Jordan, someone over 40, 50, roundabout there, a weathered, kind of experienced Hal Jordan who's going to be reluctantly training a younger John Stewart, who's going to be taking on the Green Lantern role and protecting Earth. So, a very interesting backdrop to what they're exploring. It gives us an interesting insight into James Gunn's overall cohesive narrative that he's trying to create. This world that we have is established. There are superheroes. We are coming into this with the assumption that we know these characters roundabout, and if we don't know their backstories, I'm sure we'll pick it up. Batman is older. He's already got a kid. Superman is young, but by the time Batman comes out, he'll be in his 40s roundabout, so not too far off. And then we've got Green Lantern. So all of these original characters that we know from the comic books, they've been at it for a while, and it creates an interesting story. The hesitation, the worry is, do we miss out on that epic origin story? These are the actors that they've put forward as the frontrunners for the role of Hal Jordan: Josh Brolin, Matthew McConaughey, and Ewan McGregor. These are the three. Now, of those three, there's been a lot of buzz. The front runner for those has been Josh Brolin, and people have been understandably excited about it. He's played Thanos, beloved villain, one of the best villains that's been written in superhero comic films for a long time. Cable in the Deadpool movie, which was well received as well. And all around, I think Josh Brolin is just a really cool dude. I've seen him in interviews and how he interacts with people. He's like really down to earth and lovely, and he just seems like a real human, just trying to do the best he can with the opportunities he's given. And he carries a real gruffness with him. We found out today that, unfortunately for those of you Brolin loving people, he has passed on the role of Hal Jordan, as has Matthew McConaughey, who, from sources, this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, is not interested. Scratch those off your list. Heartbroken for those of you Brolin and McConaughey fans. I personally am not too bothered by that. I think that they're these mainstream guys that always get called out for these roles because they're kind of the safe bet. I get why they're doing it, though. I mean, I'm open to an actor that we're not particularly familiar with, but I think the best route is to take, if you're training young John Stewart, have him be the unknown and have the mentor be the familiar character, the familiar actor. But I'm not too bothered by that. I can see Ewan McGregor being Hal Jordan, but I don't feel he's like my first pick. Matthew McConaughey, I'm not too bothered by that as well, because he is just so distinctly himself. He is a character in himself as a person, and it's sometimes difficult for me when I watch a movie to separate. If he's an amazing actor, and I mean, like, I watch him in Interstellar, and he's Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar, amazingly done. But it's like, what if Matthew McConaughey was in a world where he was a pilot, and like that's how it feels. Whereas some actors really can take on the role in a different way. So for me, Hal Jordan would be difficult to separate from Matthew McConaughey. But if he was cast, I wouldn't be unhappy about it. I'm not saying, but it's just like he's one of those like tentpole kind of guys that I don't really feel I'd necessarily want to see in the role. Chris Pine has a very Hal Jordan feel. I could see him doing it. He, again, is also falls into that category of like Matthew McConaughey, where he's like the guy. But something about him as a person makes me feel like he matches Hal Jordan, the way that I've interpreted him in the comics. But I personally would choose different actors. There's a few that I feel that are popular but haven't been popular recently, or ones that have done some work but haven't had an opportunity in like a major superhero film. And these are the ones that I would pick. First one for me, I think that I feel would be a great Hal Jordan, is Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett is someone who was the main love interest back in the 2000s. A great actor. I mean, I loved him in 30 Days of Night. I haven't watched that movie in a while, but I just remember him being awesome in that. And I enjoy watching him. Oppenheimer, he did a great job in Oppenheimer. He's a bigger guy, and he carries a presence with him that's almost like this quiet assertion. He hasn't been in much that I remember since like ages ago. So he's kind of like come back into it, and he hasn't been in any superhero stuff. So he could be a really great, weathered, but still almost feels older youthful, if that makes sense. he's a great pick for me. The second one I'd go for is James Marsden. He has been in a big superhero role back in the 2000s, and with the X-Men movies with Cyclops, but I felt like he wasn't a character that did Cyclops justice. Not that he didn't act it well, but the way it was written, he just felt like this whiny guy that you just were like, get to Wolverine. We just want Wolverine to fall in love with the main chick. You're like, let's just move away from this annoying, complaining character. That's how they set him up. I loved him in Westworld. That was like, I just thought was he played that with so much depth. And he is at that age where I feel like he's got that superhero face, but could do with a stronger character and a mentor character. I think that would suit him well. The third one on my list is Jensen Ackles, which is quite a popular one, I feel. People always talk about Jensen Ackles being Batman and Jensen Ackles being Hal Jordan, but I think it's fair to say that he could be good in those roles because he's been in Supernatural for ages. He's been on The Boys to show like he can play a bit of a different role as a superhero, but I can see Jensen Ackles having that prominent role. The exciting thing about the character of Hal Jordan is that I've just recently been getting into, probably over the past 2 years, recently, reading the comic books. But what got me into it was the Blackest Night run, which I really was fascinated by. The pitch that James Gunn puts forward for the Green Lantern series is that they discover something that has broader, darker implications on the whole universe of the DCU. And how crazy would it be if they decide to do Blackest Night? It's such a dark story. But who knows what James Gunn is going for here. And if he has characters that are in Superman films done really uplifting and bright and full of joy and that kind of stuff, and then they have the Batman films have that darker feel, and they have the characters belonging to their particular genres and feels, then Blackest Night could be a really epic crossover story. They also could do it in like a mid-level horror feel, not like a dark horror feel, but I would love it if they took that on. That would be awesome. There has been talk about, Hal Jordan has his whole parallax turning into like this monster demon creature thing. Although that could be really intriguing, they could do it differently to the comics, but he takes on the whole Justice League, and it feels like it's a weird thing to discover. I don't know. It doesn't quite fit for me. I don't think parallax is the right thing to do at this stage. But Blackest Night could be, wow, could be epic. Devastating news for the Brolin fans and the McConaughey fans. It does mean that we have other potential options, and it's cool to think that they're doing the casting at the moment. We should be hearing some kind of announcement at some point in the next few weeks. So that's exciting, and hopefully we get some Jon Stewart casting kind of rumors as well to kind of speculate there, because it's fun to kind of talk about. Those are my 3 picks: Josh Hartnett, Jensen Ackles, and James Marsden. What do you guys think about that? And is there anyone else that you would love to see play the role of Hal Jordan? Thank you for watching. It's always awesome to have you here. Have a fantastic, wonderful, lovely week.